All right, so I got to talk. And if you guys know me, you probably already know. You're probably wondering when this was going to happen. We got to talk about Jimmy Butler.
Oh my goodness. I was wondering whether it was going to be Butler or Tibbs. You went with Butler.
I'm going Butler.
I'm glad you're going Butler because you a dirty hater when it comes to poor Jimmy.
All I'm
Poor
saying,
innocent little Jimmy.
all I'm saying is what did I say? I'm telling y'all, Jimmy Butler will ruin the chemistry on a fantasy basketball team. He's terrible, man. I'm telling y'all, everybody isn't lying on this dude. If everywhere you go, I said this before, and now it's manifesting itself because Jimmy
Is it
Butler is
though?
having problems with Brent Brown, Brent Brown
Because Brett
about
Brown
his
came out
role
and said that it was
in.
nothing.
Well, is he going to come out and
He
say,
said
"Oh
it was
yeah,
fake
you're
news.
right"? Is he going to come out and
Actually, when they have problems, well, first of all, when Jimmy Butler came out in Minnesota, everybody said, "Yeah, it was a problem, and we taking care of it."
Tibbs didn't?
No, but it wasn't about Tibbs. It wasn't about him
Tibbs
going
was
at Tibbs.
Tibbs was the head coach. It was about Tibbs. He called Tibbs out. He called Flip Saunders out. He called everybody out at that practice when he had his
You
tantrum.
said he called Flip Saunders out. Flip
But I
Saunders,
mean, not what his the you know who I'm talking
the
about.
kid, right?
The kid.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
called
yeah.
everybody out. I hope he didn't call Flip out. That would have been really inappropriate.
You saying too much about Jimmy.
That would take it. Now I'm really bad on Jimmy. Now he's calling the dearly departed out. You know what I'm saying? He called he called management out. He called front office out. He called everybody out during his tantrum. Tibbs could have responded and said, "Oh, there was nothing. It was just a guy in practice have going through. It happens in practice. What stays in practice is in practice." He could have did all that. He didn't do any of that. So nobody, no head
But
coach.
that's not what Brett Brown said. So you calling Brett Brown a liar?
I'm not calling Brent Brown a lie.
Because Brett Brown said it was nothing.
What I'm saying is there's no head coach that I've seen that's going to have that type of an issue. That's just a rumor. There's no proof of it. And he's going to come out and acknowledge, oh yeah, well, we had a problem, but that nobody, for the most part, that's not going to happen. You're going to see a coach downplay it all the time. That's what's going to happen. Dude, there's so we're calling whoever came up with this initial report a liar,
They
who
could.
is a who
Here's
is
the
an
thing. They
impartial
don't.
person.
Well, first of all, the media creates drama where there is little drama all the
Absolutely.
time.
I know, yeah. I mean, it's
So
part
here's
of
the
part
thing.
of what we get paid to do.
Here's what we do know. We do know that the Sixers are 7-3 out of their last 10. They've won
Yeah.
4 in a row. They have
Yeah.
an excellent record. They've been much better since Jimmy Butler has gotten there. And
Mhm.
the coach has said that all of his players come up to him wanting something all the time. That's a part of coaching, and that the conversation that he had with Jimmy Butler, he said he talks to Jimmy all the time. He
I
likes
bet he
talking to
do.
Jimmy.
I bet
He
he
said he
does
said
talk to Jimmy all the time.
he said he likes talking to Jimmy, and that this was not out of line or out of the regular for coach and player interactions, and it
Oh
wasn't
my
even a
God.
bad thing or a big
Oh
deal.
my God.
I'm just
This is
repeating
getting
what
worse.
he
This is
said.
getting worse. This
I'm
is
just
getting
repeating
worse
what he said.
than your Russell Westbrook support. It's really getting worse.
I'm not even
It's getting
supporting Jimmy
worse.
Butler. I'm just repeating what he said. I'm looking at the facts.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just looking at what's happening on the court. They're
And,
better.
and, and
They're a good team. They're a better team. It looks like they want to re-sign him. Um, in fact, there's a recent report from Woj that he's their number one priority to make sure he's happy and signing him. If he was such a cancer, that wouldn't make any sense.
we'll we'll see. We'll see. All I'm saying
How the
is
Timberwolves doing without Jimmy?
Timberwolves are doing as expected. I would think. I don't think the Timberwolves are a horrible team without Jimmy. I don't
They
think so at all. And right now, Derek's not playing. He's nursing a sprained ankle, but they won last night. They're on a 3-game winning streak. If you really want to know how they're doing,
no, but how
the,
they doing though? How they
the,
doing? What place they in?
No, if they're not in the playoffs. I mean, but this is not about. That's not what this is about.
Last year they was in third place around this time of the year with Jimmy
No,
Butler.
this is not. That's not what. But the West is better this year than it was
They
last year.
don't only play Western Conference teams.
But we're talking about where they are in relation to the standings for the Western
Actually, I think the
Conference.
West was better last year.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The
God.
resurgent of the Sacramento. I mean, the Sacramento Kings are a much better team. Utah's still in the mix. The Clippers
You
are a
just
better
named
team.
2 under 500 teams.
The Clippers are not an under 500
Houston is
team.
playing worse. I said 2. You named 2 under 500 teams: Utah and Sacramento.
Yeah, but I'm saying that. But those teams are. But honestly, that's where
San Antonio has been
that's
worse
part
for
of
most of the
where
part of the year. Portland
San Antonio.
has been worse for most of the part of the year.
San Antonio is the hottest
Not at
team in
this
the
point.
NBA right now.
They're playing well now, but that's not.
They're the hottest team in the NBA right
That
now.
has nothing to do with Minnesota's record.
It does though, because when you're talking
And I said for
about,
most of the year. Last
but
year they were super consistent.
when you're talking about the value or the the status of the conference, you got to talk about not just the teams that are in the playoffs, not just the top 4. You're talking about night in, night out, because you play more conference games than you play out of conference games. You looking at how good is everybody in the
And
conference.
who's better than they were? Almost everybody in the East outside of Washington.
Out of the Bulls are not better. I don't think the Knicks are better.
I'm talking about teams that are good.
No, but this is what I'm saying to you. If you look from top to bottom in the Western Conference, and you look from top to bottom in the East, the West is better.
Well, that's only if you are, but no, because you're counting how good are the bad teams.
Exactly, because you play them too.
How good are the good teams?
No, but here's the thing: you play the teams in the West. The whoever, we're right now we're just talking about the West, talking about Minnesota. Minnesota is going to play the Nuggets just as many times as they're going to play another team.
Let me ask you a straightforward
Utah.
question: who's a better team, Minnesota or the Philadelphia 76ers?
That's an insane question. Of course, Philly
Why
is
is it
better.
insane?
The Philly was better than Minnesota before they got Butler.
They weren't better than Minnesota last year.
What? Yes, they were.
No, they weren't. Minnesota was third. It's the only reason Minnesota.
It's 2 different conferences. We talking about if these 2 teams played each other in a series, Philly last year would have beat Minnesota.
I don't know that for sure. I definitely don't know that. Oh my God,
I don't know why you don't.
The main reason I don't know that for sure is because the only reason Minnesota fell off from being as high as they were is because Jimmy got hurt.
That's not the only reason, man. And here's the thing. And I've never implied that Jimmy Butler is not a good basketball player. I've never implied that. What I maintain and what this latest news supports is that he is a freaking cancer for your organization, for your locker room, and he is never, ever going to be a top player for a team that wins a championship. Never. He never will, because his personality, his selfishness will always circumvent the ultimate goal. And what's worse is that because he's a deceiving type of a player, he's a trap player, because he's good enough to make you believe he can be a part of you winning. He's good enough for that, but his negativity always snatches the rug from under his coach and from under the other players on his team with comparable talent. He is an ultimate loser and will be unless he changes.
Here's my problem with that argument, because the teams that are winning right now, the championships, it's basically just Golden State. And the reason Golden State are winning is because they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and they're going to have Boogie Cousins soon. And you can't say Jimmy Butler's a loser because the Sixers didn't beat that.
No, that's not why. It really has nothing to do with the other teams.
Until Butler is on a team that would be championship level, if it weren't for him being a cancer, then your point doesn't get proven. because Jimmy Butler hasn't underachieved yet on a team.
It's what it is it's not so what it is it's more of a projection than it is anything.
Oh, okay.
It's more of a projection because
I
obviously I can't say that I didn't say he's failed necessarily, but what he has
you're
failed as a
saying he
team.
will.
He has failed as a teammate, and it's just like this. Like we were talking about Dennis Smith. I think it was in last week's show, right? Dennis Smith hasn't proven 100% without a doubt that he isn't going to be Russell Westbrook, that he
Right.
isn't going to be Kyrie Irving.
Right.
But from what you've seen of him, you felt comfortable enough saying he won't become these guys. You felt comfortable. What
No,
I've seen
actually,
from
no.
what I've
Hold on.
seen from
I
Jimmy
need to
Butler.
clarify that. I need to clarify that because what I said was Dennis Smith Jr. is a young point guard, and he may turn it around. Look, him turning into Derrick Rose is probably more likely than Moutier turning into Moutier, according to what they were doing on the court, last year, this year. So Dennis Smith Jr. has the potential. What I said was Dallas sees him every day in
Mm-hmm.
practice.
Yeah.
They have the data to make that decision. And if they feel comfortable making that decision, then they should. If I saw Dennis Smith Jr. in practice every day, how he trained, what he was improving on, the little nuances of his game that you don't get to see on TV, I would have a better evaluation. They have that evaluation. Me, as an observer from this point, like I said, all young point guards, the data could always be bad data until about 4 or 5 years in. So I'm not writing Dennis Smith Jr. off at all. I'm just saying if you have to bet, this is what we know so far.
And if I had to bet
Jimmy
on
Butler is a finished product. There's no betting to
which
be done.
which further supports what I'm saying. Jimmy Butler is a
Or what I'm
finished
saying.
No, Jimmy Butler's a finished product. This is who he is. This is who he is. So Jimmy Butler is a really good player who is fine as long as you're doing everything the way he wants it done. And you know what blows my mind is that Jimmy Butler doesn't get the same type of flack for his offensive game that Carmelo gets for his offensive game. Now, and one of the reasons why is because Jimmy plays defense. And not only does he play defense, he is a lockdown, as close as you're going to find it in the NBA under the current rule set. He is a phenomenal defender, right? Gives maximum effort on it most times. But offensively, he's a black freaking hole. And he doesn't move the ball. He wants to run isolations, which the game is totally moved past.
His request was actually to be involved in more pick and rolls, but
he
continue.
If you I watched Jimmy Butler like every freaking day during every game during his time here. Jimmy, especially if the people on the floor he doesn't respect. Jimmy wants to get the ball every rip, man. I can't even. I could if I had tried if I had $1 for every time Jimmy Butler caught the ball, stopped the movement on the perimeter, planted his left foot, swung out his right foot in a reverse pivot to square up to be able to assess what he's about to do and take 2 to 3 seconds off the shot clock every single time he does that. If I had $1 for every time I saw him do that, it would be insane. Okay. And I'm not even saying that he's an effective offensive player, right? Like I said, this has nothing to do with Jimmy's game. Nothing at all. It has nothing to do. His game is very good. He is one of the top swing men, wing players in the NBA. He is. I would never say different. What I'm saying is this guy, as a teammate, as a player to coach, unless he changes and matures, is going to circumvent the championship effort of every team he's on. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying, what championship level team has he ever been on? I would agree. He hasn't played on a team that is true. This one is close. This one's close.
I mean, this team's biggest problem is that Ben Simmons won't shoot, and also they have some, and actually the fact that Markelle Fultz is a bust. Because
Yes.
if they had Markelle Fultz as a solid backup young point guard and Ben Simmons just shot as much as Giannis shoots, like he doesn't even have to shoot more than that, like literally just as much as Giannis shoots. Giannis would just occasionally shoot to make you pay and hit his free throws. Again, not at a terrific clip, but he's not a liability. He's not afraid to take a free throw at the end of the game. Then we would be talking about them in the same breath as Toronto and Boston and you know, a healthy Houston team as like teams that if the Warriors have issues, we'll see what happens. Which is as good as you're going to get if you're not the Warriors. Is if the Warriors have issues, you have a shot.
I'm telling you right now.
And what I'm seeing on the court is Philly's problems aren't Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is, for like, you compare him to Carmelo, he doesn't take as many shots as Carmelo. He's more efficient than Carmelo. He's a better 3-point shooter than Carmelo, and he plays defense. That's why. Like, that's the answer to your question.
Dude,
I'm just saying that's the answer to your question. You asked
it's not. It's actually not. It's actually not. It's actually not, because
if Jimmy took 20, 22 shots a game, if Jimmy didn't have as good of a 3-point shot, and if Jimmy didn't play defense, then people would criticize him the way they criticize Carmelo Anthony. But none of those things.
It's the defense. It's really the defense. It's that's really what it is. It's the defense, and it's also the athletic, because Jimmy will take the ball to the basket. Jimmy doesn't settle for as many jump shots. But my comparison and the relation I'm talking about is the resistance to perimeter ball movement, which is that's what most of these offenses are predicated on. And Jimmy does not subscribe to that concept at all. So that obviously their games their games are not the same.
I don't disagree that that's not a flaw in his game. However, your flaws are minimized by the context of the rest of your game.
And I already admitted that it's the defense. Most of it.
But here's the thing: as a willing and capable catch and shoot player, Jimmy Butler's isolation issues aren't as big as Carmelo's, Carmelo was on the 3-point line, stepped in and had to apologize to D'Antoni. Like, he's just allergic to, you know what I'm saying? He's just like, that's not my game. I can't play like that. That's why he can't get work.
I'm
not saying they're completely different, but you're asking how can they be similar and Jimmy not catch flack? I just answered why. If Carmelo made those changes, he would be in the league right now.
Well, Carmelo can't make those changes because Carmelo's not the athlete that Jimmy is, and he's younger. He's older than Jimmy. So there's a difference.
He can work on that 3-point shot.
He can work on the 3-point shot. He definitely can. But here's the thing: because of his athleticism, that's a shot. Because of his athleticism and because of the fact that they will not run an offense through him in the post, which is what he really, really wants. He wants that inside-outside opportunity, because that's not going to happen. The shot he gets is the 3, and that's almost it. You know, when that's pretty much all Melo's going to get in most offenses now, because of his deficiencies in other areas.
And the fact that he don't set no screens,
and he don't set screens. So, but I'm not trying to.
And he don't run pick and roll. Jimmy's asking to run more pick and roll.
I don't know about that.
That's literally what Brett Brown said. You saying Brett Brown lying? Like he said,
I'm saying Brett Brown might be protecting a player that's on his team.
Okay.
By only sharing so much information. That's what I'm saying. He might be protecting a player on his team, which is what he should do. But there's been too many campfires for us to believe that there's not another flicker with this smoke. When your name keeps coming up in the same kinds of drama, it's really difficult for me to say, oh no, this isn't just another one of these things. Everywhere he's gone, man, everywhere he's gone, everybody's not lying on Jimmy Butler. Everybody's not lying. There's a problem. If you keep having the same problems, no matter where you go, it's time for you to look at yourself.
Here's the thing,
because in Chicago, we blame the rookies and we blame Fred Hoiberg and the young players and we blame Rondo. Okay, in Minnesota,
and y'all got Jimmy out of town, and arguably the worst team in the league.
Absolutely, but it was still a good trade. But who we got for him has been hurt a lot. So that's what that is. But it was still a good trade.
And then Minnesota went on to until Jimmy got hurt, they were third place in the West, and they broke a 14-year playoff curse.
And
Jimmy
he
was
went
not.
through, and he threw a tantrum.
He wanted
and
to.
he threw a tantrum.
Actually, Jimmy quietly went to upper management and said, "I'm not resigning. Send me out of here." And they said, "We'll see what we could do." And then they proceeded to not send him out.
Tantrum. He
Gibbs was
threw a
never going to move
tantrum.
him, and he said, "I'm
And
going to
he
do what I got to
probably
do to get out
wasn't.
of town."
And he probably, and I don't doubt that he probably wasn't going to get moved, that they were going to do what was best for them as an organization. I don't doubt that. But like I told you back then, my problem with what he did was how he did it. Throwing people who were not a part of what was making you upset under the bus, to me, is indicative of your character, especially when it supports things that you've done in the past. He did similar things, throwing guys under the bus, creating division, subscribing to a cliquish mentality in Chicago. And then now you come to Minnesota, you don't get your way, you throw teammates under the bus again, who have nothing to do with anything that you're talking about, and now you choose to, you're mad because management won't trade you. So now you want to air your teammates dirty laundry, their flaws, all of these things you want to talk about. You want to make this a part of the narrative because you're mad. It's ultimate selfishness. And it all boils down to the same type of MO for Jimmy. It's all about Jimmy. And when you're that way, you're not going to be the best. You're not going to be one of the top players on the championship team. You're not. I'm telling you, I give you 6 to 8 months before we start to hear Jimmy talk about Ben Simmons in the public, and that creeps out. He won't mess with
him. They seem to get along just fine, but we'll see.
For now, he won't mess with Embiid. He won't mess with Embiid, but he'll pick Ben.
My thing is this. I'm not saying Jimmy's not difficult. I'm just saying that there's a lot of difficult players on championship teams. Historically, there have been some crazy stories that come out about how difficult guys are that we never heard about.
And I believe it.
Coaches coach, managers manage, players play, and at the end of the day, it's about sacrificing for your teammates on the court and playing good basketball. And right now, the 76ers are playing their best basketball.
But I think what you just said was key, though. You said there's been a lot of difficult players, a lot of difficult situations that we haven't heard about. Now, whether or not we're talking about because we're in a different time and because we have the social media and all the different.
Oh yeah, I mean it's different. Now we hear about everything.
We hear about everything.
No secrets in the league.
And exactly, and that's part of what I'm talking about. How much worse would the Boston Celtics, or how much would the Boston Celtics dynasty team had been affected if Larry Bird and Kevin McHale's feud hit the media and hit the public and that got involved? How much worse would it have been if all of the people that Michael Jordan clashed with during his time with the Chicago Bulls, if that had been made public knowledge and been a major conversation back then? We really don't know, but because people don't change very much, I think it's not preposterous to think that it could have had an impact on things. And I'm just telling you, man, that guy, I have seen that guy in a variety of different fields and professions, and that guy almost always ruins everything. Just saying.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it turns out.
We'll see how it turns out. Now, but
it sounds like you're talking about John Wall. John Wall is a guy that people genuinely don't like playing with. And
I don't know if they don't like playing with him. I think they don't like. I don't think they don't like playing with John Wall. I think they don't like John Wall.
I think both.
I think people don't like John Wall.
You know why I think it's both? Because there have been people that guys like playing with that they don't like them off the court.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul's a great example, right? Mm-hmm. Like some of them guys can't stand Chris Paul, but they like Dennis Rodman. But on the court, they had no problems with him, so they're just willing to pull it aside. When they play with John Wall, they literally play with less joy than when he's hurt. Like, that's why people keep asking.
I think they just don't like him. And I think the dislike.
And at his best, he plays good defense when John Wall's at his best.
Yeah. And even at his 80%, which is what he was at this season, he was still like a 20-9, 20-8 guy.
Right. And yet somehow, how does the team just eye test look like a better team when you're not here? That doesn't make sense. And the players are telling you, yeah, we hate him. Like, it's coming out. We hate him. We hate playing with him. He's all about his numbers and himself. He's not really playing team ball. And he's not really trying to win. I don't think that's the case with Jimmy Butler. I do, and I think that's the key. I agree with you that Jimmy Butler is probably a really challenging locker room guy, but I disagree that Jimmy Butler's not trying to win. I think
No,
Jimmy Butler
I
is
don't.
trying to win.
I don't
And as
think.
long
I
as
don't.
somebody's
No, I don't
trying
think
to
that.
win, I think you can make it work. And that's the
Yeah.
big difference here.
Yeah, I don't think that he's not trying to win. I don't think John Wall's not trying to win.
Yeah,
I don't think that at all. I think that what it is it's the way you try to win. Because some people, and here's the thing, is winning the most important thing, or is winning because of me the most important thing? Because both still want to win, but is it which one is your ultimate priority? Do you want to win with all the glory, or is it that you just want to win? Which one is it? And I think that Jimmy is at a place where he still wants this self-validation. He still wants that. And I think that he feels like his way to get it is by him leading a team. Man, can you imagine what Jimmy Butler's championship speech would look like and sound like? Oh my God. It would be, oh my God. People say, they was, but this is what you got to do to be a champion. It would be the worst thing that ever happened to children.
Y'all see what he's like, people? Do
it
y'all
would be
see
like,
what he's on?
It would
Do
be
you
like
see
somebody
what
walking into
he's
a
on?
nursery school and saying, you're not going to ever do well unless you bust your teacher in the face with your math book. It'd be just on that same level. Jimmy Butler winning and being able to talk to kids from an authority, it would be catastrophic.
Jimmy Butler winning would be the worst thing to happen to children. This is how
it would be the worst thing that ever happened to children of 5 years age and young, and it's horrible. It's a horrible concept.
I do my best not to be a James Harden hater. I just admit I don't like his game. The guy's really good.
I don't dislike James Harden's game. I don't dislike Jimmy Butler's game at all. And I Jimmy Butler's just not a dude that I would want on my team. I wouldn't want Jimmy. I'm telling you, I'm on my fantasy team. I wouldn't draft him on my fantasy team because I would be afraid he would ruin the chemistry. Do you understand me?
You're like, ridiculous, man. You want me to play him in 2K?
Junior and I just did a fantasy draft on my league. Every single time Jimmy Butler was there, I said, I'm not going to do it. He's going to ruin my chemistry on my 2K team. I don't.
Junior, you got to win this for the people.
No, Junior doesn't want him there either. Junior, oh my God, Junior
brainwashed this boy.
No, he knows. I'm telling you, he can see it. I'm just trying to tell you, man. Jimmy Butler winning championships is the worst thing ever happened to children. You don't want it. You don't want it.
You gotta name that. You gotta name this segment. Championship will be the worst thing that happened to children.
You don't ever want that to happen. So on that note, we're gonna move on, and I want you all to remember: no, Jimmy Butler cannot win a championship. If you love your children, you will not root for Jimmy Butler to win. Look at me. If you love your children, don't you root for Jimmy Butler to win a championship. I told you, heard it here first. At any rate, I appreciate everybody from watching as usual. You guys make sure you tune in next week and let us know in the comments. I appreciate all the feedback, all of the conversation that we're having in the comment section. It's really pretty dope and very much encouraging. But that's all we got. And for my man Books and for my wife, the producer, who had to dip out because she had to go get Junior. We appreciate you watching as always. God bless. Peace.
How could I be weak? I'm rather unique.